Okay, welcome on our community engineering hangouts. Today we have a really interesting and good topic connected to upgrade compatibility tool. We have Sergey and Sandra today to cover all the questions and interesting stuff related to this tool. So today we will try a new format of the event, like a live conversation. So folks, if you have any questions related to the materials that we are going to share today, uh, we have probably a few options how to ask questions. The first one is pretty much simple, just to post your question to the chat, and we will cover it. And the second one, if you want to ask a question with your voice, just to raise your hand. We have icon with like smile with a hand, and yeah, we'll provide you ability to ask your question and actually answer to your question. So okay, I believe we can start. So upgrade compatibility tool. So what is it, and yep, what is this about?
Thanks everybody for joining. And as Stanislav just said, I'm Sandra Gonzalez, and I'm the product manager leading the upgrade compatibility tool. So what the tool is and what it's meant for. So the goal of the tool is to help with the upgrade process. So our intention with UCT is actually to provide information about what needs to be done to complete an upgrade. So our expectation is that the tool will significantly simplify the analysis of what of the scope of an upgrade every time that you want to get to the newer version. And mainly, we launched the tool earlier this year, back in January. We've seen since then a great adoption of the tool, and we've received a lot of feedback. So since we launched the tool, we've been working on increasing the scope. So we released first an alpha version, and the first stable version of the tool was released this summer in July. We started including on the tool everything related to PHP API validations and GraphQL schema validations. So to give you some understanding of why we start with these validations instead of others. I know we are aware that front end might be one of the main issues when upgrading. What we wanted to achieve with introducing first these validations was to is bring already some value that we could develop easily, so get something to our users as fast as we can, and something that will also be valuable. That's why we started with these two validations. PHP APIs, because we believe it was something that we could deliver faster, and GraphQL schema because we believe in the future of GraphQL and we want to empower our users to use GraphQL. During the course of this year, we've been working on additional validations, and recently we launched the validations of the core code. The idea is that mainly, and please stop me anytime. I'm more than happy, as Stanislav just mentioned. I think it would be great to have this more conversation. So if you've used the tool and you have any questions or ideas, or feel free to jump out. Someone wants to say something? Yeah. Okay, so this year we introduced the validations of the core. The goal of this is that we always our best practice is not to update and to change the core, but we know that sometimes it's difficult not to do so. So the idea of these validations is also to take into account all the changes that have done during a customization within the core. For next year, our target is, like, as all of you are, I'm sure, are very aware of, our target for next year is to help with the upgrade to 244. So 244 is going to be our most difficult release in 2022. Is the opportunity where we want to introduce all the backward incompatible changes that we might introduce due to the upgrade of PHP mainly. We're upgrading to PHP 8.1 with 244. We're also taking into account the 3 line end of support. It's April next year. So with this, we expect our merchants and users and partners to look forward to upgrade to 2.4 line sooner than later. And the goal of the upgrade compatibility tool is actually to help you with this process. So the scope that we're working within the next few months is focused on simplifying this upgrade to 2.4 line. And I think I've said a lot of things, so I don't know, probably if Sergey, you want to add something at this point, or if there's any question that we want to address before we continue.
I just want to go back and, to highlight what's the main benefit of upgrade compatibility tool, why like integrators, why merchants should use it.
So from our point of view, and mainly for merchants, so the great thing about the upgrade compatibility tool is that first, it's something that is meant to be used by engineers, but is something that it will be easy to understand by business people. So once an engineer runs the tool, they can get a report that will be easily to review with stakeholders from their, not only from their company, but also with their merchants and all the projects that they're working on in case of a partner. And this report will show them like a summary of all the issues that they will have to fix related to these validations that I was talking about, and also all the other ones that we will be adding in the future. It will also, we have a score that we call the complexity score, that it's meant to give a sense of how complex an upgrade can be. So the way it's calculated is based on the severity of the issues and the type of issues that we identify. It is a number that is not between a range, so it might be a small or a huge number depending on each project. The idea how we are recommending to use this score right now is use it based to being able to compare with other projects. So what I mean is, like, if you run the upgrade compatibility tool on project A and you have a score of 1,000, and then you run it on another project, on project B, and your score is 2,000, you can assume that the complexity of upgrading project B to the target version is going to be higher than upgrading project A. Our goal in the future is to also make this score more intelligent and to give kind of an idea of, hey, if you have a score that is between this range, it might mean that your the complexity of an upgrade is going to be low, medium, or high. We're still not there, and the main reason is because we don't have all the validations that we need to take into account to actually evaluate the complexity of an upgrade in general. But we do believe that it's also going to be help partners, mainly when you are working on multiple projects, so you can compare one project with the other, and you can get this experience on what the upgrade is costing you and what's this complexity score meaning within your projects.
Yeah, the complexity score is probably one of the simplest and at the same time the most complex feature of UCT. The complexity score is basically one of the results that tool provides, and it has a lot of discussion, and still it had a lot of discussion, and still there should be lots of discussion around the complexity score. To adjust it, however, I'm just wondering if it makes sense to showcase the tool really quickly before we continue this conversation. But first, I would like to ask the participants at the meeting just to see if like we already went to quite deep functionality of UCT, just to understand if we are on the same page. So guys, can you use the Teams interface and raise your hand if you have used or if you are familiar with UCT already with upgrade compatibility tool? Okay, there are some hands. Not too many, but there are some guys who have used it. That's good.
I think it's great. Just for you to know, I think I'm very happy that people that joined is not familiar with the tool, because that's kind of also the idea of this Hangout. So for you to learn a little bit more about it, and hopefully you will be interested in using it in the short future. So Sergey, back to you.
Yeah, one more quick question just to check the activity, like to see the percentage. Guys, how many of you worked with the upgrades of Magento and interested in working with Magento upgrades? Raise your hand. A bit more. Come on, let's this community Hangouts. Let's make it a bit more interactive. Nice. It works. Thank you, guys. Good. So considering that not too many of you have tried upgrade compatibility tool already, I will just quickly show you what it is from the technical point of view. Yeah, by the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Sergey, and I'm currently leading upgrade compatibility tool from the technical side. So let's. Oh, we have a question already. Let's try to.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we have a first question. So the question from Alexander. Does complexity score calculated based on the current customization or based on the difference between the current Magento version and Magento versions that you are going to upgrade?
Both. That's actually a good question. Let me still showcase the basic like UCT execution so that we can see the actual complexity score in real life, so that everybody is on the same page and can understand what we are discussing, and then we can address this question in more details. So just sharing my screen here. I have some console. Let me clear it. So basically, there is a documentation on upgrade compatibility tool. Well, everything starts from documentation, right? With lots of description. The most important thing to begin with is the installation documentation. And that upgrade compatibility tool is just a Magento package that has a simple name, Magento/upgrade compatibility tool. You can install it using create projects. You cannot require it to Magento because that is an independent project that's supposed to work independently. And so one thing that I have to mention here, installing Magento upgrade compatibility tool via Composer requires Adobe Commerce access keys. That's one important thing. So let's take a look on the tool itself. So once you install it, you will have it. Like here, I have the project, and the simplest way to run it. Well, let's take a look on the commands. So the most important command here is probably just upgrade check. So you can run bin UCT upgrade check. Yeah, that's a command line tool, by the way. And specify the path to your project. Well, actually, there are lots of options that can be specified, but let's keep it simple. Just the path to the project, and I have some Magento customized 237 Enterprise Edition project, so that we can see actually some customization analysis results, and -C or a coming version. That's the option you can specify to compare with specific Magento version. For example, if you have 237 and you would like to upgrade to 243, to check the compatibility of your customizations in this project with version 243, the 243 should be specified. And that's it. Just one argument, one option, and it's running. It's now going through the custom modules in my 237 project. There is just one custom module that I have, that is fake module that I have prepared for this simple demonstration. And as a result, we have the compatibility issues. So there are issues of different levels, categorized by different levels, categorized also by codes that are indicating all the deprecated, like removed classes, methods, properties, parameters that needs to be addressed on the backend. We can talk about the errors specifically, like their categorizations a bit later. Let's jump straight to the question that was asked before, and that actually is present in summary. So at the end of the execution, we display the summary. You can see that the version 237 was compared to the for compatibility to 243. The analysis took 13 seconds. That's just one module. Probably with more modules, it will take a little bit more time. And there were errors, warnings, critical errors found, and the complexity score is 51. This magic number 51. So if I remember correctly, the question was how this complexity score is actually calculated. So currently we are still thinking on the best formula on calculating the complexity score, but also currently the complexity score probably reflects the complexity of the upgrade from the backend side mostly, because the coverage of compatibility issues of ECT right now is focused on the backend. They still working on this tool and didn't have a chance to add too many front-end coverage. So that's the first context of the complexity score. And for now, the formula is basically depending on the number of complexity issues that you have on your project and on their severity. Like the critical issue will have higher weight towards complexity score than warning, for example, because warning indicates the deprecated methods, for example. So that's something that you will need to change in your customization, but it can wait, right? Because it's still deprecated, still not removed. Jumping back to the conversation, hope to continue the demo a bit later, or or you can request to go further right now. So Sandra, would you like to add anything on the complexity score?
No.
There are
questions?
Sorry, may I ask? Yes, I have a question around this warnings and errors. Just for understanding, these warnings and errors, they show it if the code has problem, or they show it if the newest Magento version changed this code, some files, some classes, and these classes are involved in your custom code. Check these options.
Yes, so the errors are reported in case something was changed, or not even if something was changed in the newer version, but in case you're using the for example, this warning, that's an easy example. So you're using the constant in your code in this file, right? So in fake model, fake deprecated class, there is a reference to the config engine pass constant. So this constant is deprecated on version 243. Well, for this specific example, it can be deprecated on 237 as well. So that might be already deprecated. There is an option to exclude actually the errors that are errors for your current version, and you are living fine with them. For example, just see the errors that were introduced by changes in 243, or well, not in 243, but starting from 237 in all the versions until the 243. So if in 237 this constant is not deprecated, but in 243 is deprecated, it will still be reported. And you can display just these errors, just errors that were introduced after 237, if you understand what I mean.
I understand. Thank you. Okay, and I have another question. What will happen with some kind of third-party extensions if these extensions has some issues? Will be there calculated in this score, and will be there errors and warnings also reported in the report?
Yes, yes. So any modules, basically the upgrade compatibility tool is analyzing all Magento modules except Magento modules provided by Magento. So if we are not including the results of Magento modules, bundled extensions, Magento bundled extensions, vendor bundled extensions, and additional modules like related to cloud, Fastly, that are distributed by Magento, like in the Magento distribution, because you don't need to update them, obviously, because they will be updated and compatibility issues will be fixed on our side. But any custom modules, but the packages of type Magento module will be analyzed and the errors will be reported. For sure, you can also configure the tool to analyze only like specify the path for analysis only to your module that you are working on to avoid analyzing all the modules in the project, if you would like to.
Okay, clear. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I see 3 more raised hands in the chat. So yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yep. Hi.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much for this presentation. This tool looks very interesting and promising from the developer and business perspective. And I have a question about the main line. Is it possible to change the main line to which we decide to compare our project? So, for example, some of the branch which is in development right now, we want to compare to our project to have more time to make our project compatible with the main line, which will be released soon.
That's a good question and a good idea, by the way. Currently, it's not possible. Currently, we are so the analysis is based on indexes and indexes of the code base, and indexes are generated for the released versions of Magento. So once the version is ready for release, so our approach right now is once the version is ready to the release and there is no backward incompatible changes supposed to happen anymore, we are going to generate the new index version and include it so that it can be a bit earlier than the actual release, but not too much earlier. So we are trying to do this just once to allow all the backward incompatible changes that are going to be included in the new version to be present in the index. But yeah, that's a very good idea, I think, about for allowing beta indexes like wild.
Yes, thank you so much, Sergey, for your answer. Just because this tool and in combination with the quality patch tool will bring to the developers and to the business a great opportunity to make delivery of the new versions of the Magento platform more smoothly and efficient. And because just if you release, for example, 2.4.4 in January, we will have more time to prepare our customers. Why it's important? It's important because, for example, in the upcoming releases, you will have some new functionality which is critical or very interesting for the business. And in this case, customers will push just to upgrade their projects, for example, to the new version as soon as possible. But taking into account backwards and compatible things and other complexity, having this tool with the early access to better versions will be a really cool feature. Yeah, thank you so much. That's all from my side.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. As usual, brilliant question with an idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, we still have two hands raised in the chat, so guys, please unmute you and ask a question.
Okay, I'll just jump in. So I'm Bertrand. Sorry, I joined a little late, but I just have one question. Is this tool also available for the open source Magento?
No, the tool is limited for commerce customers at the moment, at least. Yeah. So you can have commerce.
Thank you very much.
If I'm counting correctly, there should be one question left.
Yeah,
oh,
you're right.
Actually, I see the question from Shikha in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with the question from the chat.
Thanks so much.
Oh, Shikha, you are unmuted. Would you like to ask the question yourself?
Yeah, actually, basically, I was thinking about like if someone has added some patches over or their Commerce Magento. So while upgrading, is it going to show something like this patch is not going to be used with the upgraded version and or something? Some notice about that in the report while checking this?
Actually, no. So upgrade compatibility tool is not based on patches, is not looking for patches. It's designed for updating the customizations. So that's not for updating the Magento itself, the core code of Magento. It's designed to see, to analyze your customizations, your extensions, or like third-party extensions as well. That are installed in the Magento project and see if they have compatibility issues with the coming versions. So for the patches, that's I guess the MQP tool should be handling everything related to the patches instead. Everything related to Magento itself, right? So we are talking about custom code, not the Magento core.
Okay.
Okay, I still see one raised hand. I'm sorry, maybe I misspelled the name. It's Hydroli. So please feel free to ask your question. Okay. Okay, so we still have one more question in the chat. From Casper. So could you see the compatibility tool becoming available for open source in the future?
Sandra, would you mind taking?
That's a great question and not an easy one. There's a possibility of making it open source. At the moment, we know this is not going to happen in the next 6 months for sure. I cannot guarantee it will happen after that, but it's a possibility.
Okay, so I don't see like any questions in the chat, so I believe we can move forward. So Sergey, you showed us like a small demo of the tool, how it works, and I saw that you compared 2.3.7 with 2.4.3 version. So is it possible to compare like each version between each other, or there are some limitations?
Yes, it's possible to compare any version to the version starting from 230. Like that's a limitation that is based basically on the indexes that we are including in the package. We are indexing version 230 and later. So you can analyze any version, but you can analyze the upgrade to version 230 and later, including all the patch versions as well.
That's really cool. So okay, you showed us also, like, back to the demo, we saw some warnings there, some like errors related to some deprecated code, some deprecated constants, and so on. Could you describe like which validations are included to the tool and like which, let's say, feedback tool can provide about your customizations, and like what you need to do to make them work with the newest version?
Yes, yes. So here, I guess it's time to return to the report that we had and talk about like in more details about the errors itself. So as you can see, there are 3 different levels of errors: critical, warning, and error severity levels. And currently, we are verifying on the basically the PHP code, the backend side. Using this command, there is an additional GraphQL checks that can be added via options, or we have a dedicated command for that. But in this case, for now, that's just backend usage, and that based on basically all the codes of the errors that you can see here, all the errors that you can get. You can find the description of the errors in the documentation. And let me jump here. So in the upgrade compatibility tool section, there is error message reference. So it will be easier to describe the errors on this page. Critical issues are the issues, well, first of all, where the core, where the Magento is modified itself. So for example, if there are some files missing in Magento core that should be present, or if dependencies are different, like that there is different packages in the core, or even folders are missing, that is going to be a critical issue for core code. As for custom code, like customization, critical issues are mostly when the entity that is referenced in the code is not present on the new version. So it's your reference in the class that is no longer there, or a method, or a property, so on. Skipping GraphQL for now. Errors. Error level is are issues when the customization code is referencing any non-API entities, non-API classes, constants, interfaces, properties. The reason for that is that we are not strictly controlling the change in the behavior of non-API classes. Even if the interface remained the same for non-API class, there is a risk of changed behavior. And also there is some risk that it will be escalated to critical on the next upgrade, as yeah, the non-API changes are not strictly controlled. That's why we have the API declarations in Magento. And warnings. So warning for core is when there is all the dependencies in the project that should be present for the core functioning correctly are present, but there is some version mismatch. Maybe the dependency was updated after the installation of Magento, comparing to vanilla Magento, or just the version was changed because there were additional extensions installed and the composer calculated the versions in a different way. All right, and for the customizations, warnings are mostly the different kind of deprecated entities. So if the class is reference class is deprecated, it's still there. You can still use it, but it's going to be removed sooner or later, right? Because it's deprecated. That's the purpose of marking the classes or properties or any other part of the code as deprecated. There is another tricky warning here. So in the critical section, we are identifying that there may be some calls to non-existent methods, right? But we all know that we are using some magic methods, and there are data objects that are identifying that are introducing these methods to Magento customization slot. So if we identify that the method does not exist, but it is called from the object that is extending data object, then that will be a warning about like the call of non-declared data object method, because that might be a magic method or may not. Like so, in this case, that's a warning, but you have to pay attention to it and ideally check it if that's a valid magic method. But basically, that's why, because of this kind of uncertainty, it's always better to use interface method instead of non-declared data object methods. Did I answer the question?
Actually, yes. And we have a good reference on the dev docs for like each error and there's a description for each error. So it's pretty much well documented.
Yeah, we also are trying to provide some suggested actions. Here, they might not be ideal, but I believe they may not be as detailed for each specific case, but I guess they will evolve as we will have more experience in that. And if you are facing this error, that's on the dev docs. Dev docs is open for suggestions, contributions. Let us know and help our ecosystems to stay up to date on the latest versions with your suggestions, your experiences on dealing with specific compatibility problems. Also, there was a good, so as I said, we are constantly evolving right now, and there was a good suggestion from Bogdan, who was working on another cool stuff that is going to be demoed today. And we are going to extend this documentation even further to, we are thinking about it to add another column with the example of the code that will lead to this error, maybe a code snippet, and maybe even code snippet like how it was, how it was before, and like non-compatible variant, and what should be done to make it compatible. Maybe some even first step towards after fixing, but not there yet.
Yeah, I think just to point on the feedback, we have our Upgrade Compatibility Slack channel. I will also share the link now on this chat. And we've been receiving great feedback. We're trying to work on the improvements and suggestions from that we get, and mainly we get them through the Slack channel. So I think from my side and from Sergey, we invite you to join and share your feedback, your ideas to make the tool even more valuable for the future upgrades.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for sharing the link, Sandra. Yeah, please join the Upgrade Compatibility tool. We'll be happy to talk with you there. Like, for example, if you will still have questions after the meeting, or you would like to discuss something more details, that's the first place we can meet and then continue the conversation. As there is...
No, sorry. I think we were going to say the same, but you go first.
I wanted to switch the topic a little bit, but yeah, if you have something.
No, I wanted actually to talk about the PHP Storm plugin. So is that what you wanted also to mention?
Exactly.
Yes, go for it.
So yeah, upgrade compatibility tool is available as command line. So it can be, well, it is a useful tool, and it can be used also as part of maybe infrastructure. It can be used on developer environments, but we were thinking about how to bring these customization checks closer to the developer, because not in the coding daily routine, not always you want to leave your IDE and go to command line and run some tools from the command line. In IDE is comfy for coding for developers, so we decided to bring UCT directly to the PHP Storm, adding the support of compatibility checks to PHP Storm plugin. And the new version of PHP Storm was actually released today. That's version 2.1.0. And that was prepared, the functionality related to UCT was prepared and released by Bogdan, that you can see here on this meeting as well. Thank you very much, Bogdan, for that. That's a really cool stuff that I'm going to show you right now. So previously I ran the upgrade compatibility tool on customized 237 Enterprise Edition project, and here is this project open in PHP Storm. So there are two features. Well, we are just starting, that's just a beginning of integrating the compatibility checks into a PHP Storm plugin, but the basic thing to run the upgrade compatibility tool directly from PHP Storm is run configuration. So you know that you can create run configuration for PHP unit, for other tools. And now with the Magento 2 PHP Storm plugin, you can also create the run configuration for upgrade compatibility tool. And just use it as you are working on the customization upgrade. Most of the settings from the upgrade compatibility tool are available in this in the run configuration. And by the way, if you don't have the compatibility tool installed, the PHP Storm will help you to do this, like displaying, providing the ability to install it right from this dialog. If you will open the run configurations right now in your PHP Storm, make sure the plugin is updated to the latest version, because the release was just today, and create this upgrade compatibility configuration. You will see the link to download the upgrade compatibility tool to your project and use it. I have already downloaded it, just not to take too much time from the meeting. And here we have the configuration. So basically that's the options of upgrade compatibility tool that can be configured. First of all, let's pass to executable that will be populated for you, the project root, and pass to analyze. Here I'm analyzing only one vendor, that is App Store. You can specify it as deep as it like analyzing just one module, and then you can select the coming version. So to the version you would like to analyze the code against, 243. In this case, the latest version, you can select any version here. A minimum severity level, a minimum issue level. If you're interested only in fixing critical errors and don't want to be distracted in the report by errors or warnings, you can set the minimal level to critical. by default it's warning, so all errors will be displayed. And this is a setting that I mentioned previously. Like if the extension is working correctly on the current version, but there are still some compatibility issues reported, like, I don't know, using some deprecated classes, and you're not interested in fixing these specific issues, you're interested only in fixing what have changed since your version to the new version, then you can add this checkbox and that will filter the output. And so once the configuration is created, you can just run it and the UCT will be executed without you typing anything in the console or leaving the PHP store. So as you can see, the same report, a bit comparing to my command line, at least, let's take a look on my command line. So a bit better navigation, right? I can like jump straight to the class to fix the issues that are reported. It also links to the link to the errors and the description of all the compatibility issues is available here, just in case you will forget it. You don't need to Google to find it. And yeah, so compatibility tool itself is exporting results to JSON, and there is also the result file created from the when you run the UCT in the from the run configuration of PHP Storm plugin, can be useful for let's say running it, comparing it with other projects or other branches, or like just comparing it in between sprints. I don't know. In the upgrade compatibility tool itself, that can be used to automate the process of tracking how compatible your extensions or compatibilities are with the next version. Okay, I will give you a chance to discuss the run configuration first before going to the next feature. Are there any questions? Are you excited? Raise your hand if you like this feature for PHP Storm plugin.
I have to say I'm very excited, and I have to really appreciate Bogdan because of the work that he did with this was amazing. So thank you very much. And I'm really looking forward to see this working and users using it already.
Super. Stas, do we have any questions? I don't think so. Oh, now I asked everybody to raise hand. Now we don't know if anybody has question or just support. It was a mistake. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question if you have some. Okay, cool. I guess everybody would like to see the second feature as soon as possible. So apart from just providing the run configuration for executing UCT from PHP Storm plugin, we decided to utilize even more native functionality to the PHP Storm that is like even closer to the code to make it even more comfortable for developers. And we have started working on inspections. Yeah, so how do you validate the code in your project? You are using inspections, right? So here in the inspections, if you have the latest PHP Storm plugin installed, you will see the UCT group. For now, we have only deprecation inspections for the entities, but that's a first step, and the idea is that these inspections So more inspections can be added here. As you know, if the inspections are configured and enabled, you don't need even to run the tool. You can go straight to the module, or just when you are editing your code. Sorry, that's highlighted in red because that's a test module for sure, with some errors specifically for tool testing, and you can see the error straight away in the code. So here, for example, we can see that Magento review model review summary class that is important is deprecated. But that's a tricky one, because if we go to the class, we'll see that it's not deprecated. How that works? The thing is that this class is deprecated on the version 2.4.3. And when the UCT inspections are enabled, you are actually checking the checking your code against the future version of Magento. That can be configured from tools, configure upgrade compatibility tool. So here you can set also the version you are comparing to. So for example, like if you're upgrading to 2.4.3, you can set 2.4.3. If for 2.4.2, then only like classes deprecated in 2.4.2 or before 2.4.2 will be displayed, will be highlighted. And these are settings for the running. So actually, these inspections and this check is available from PHP Storm plugin itself. This doesn't require the installation of upgrade compatibility tool. That's addressing the question if it's available in open source. So PHP Storm plugin is an open source project, by the way, and we also would be really happy if you can, if you will have some ideas, suggestions, or even contributions towards that direction, towards these inspections. So here you can just run the compatibility tool. As you can see, it's even executed faster. Well, it has less checks for now. And see the results here. So again, this review summary model, it was deprecated in 2.4.3. And if we will change the coming version, for example, if you're going to upgrade to 2.4.0 and run this tool, you will see that this error is not reported anymore, and review summary is not highlighted, right? So on 2.4.0, it's not deprecated. Cool stuff. It's magic. Yeah, and for sure, you can use inspections like the same way as any other inspections can be used. For example, if you would like to check the module, you can select the module, click inspect code. Here I have like project default with lots of checks other than UCT, like code style and so on. For UCT, I have created a specific profile UCT that has only UCT checks, just to have only them. And running this inspect code on the module, you can see actually the issues in PHP Storm format. Amazing stuff. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good one. With deprecation of the classes in future releases. So yeah, it will help you to develop the extensions like compatible with several Magento versions. So you will know that some classes are already deprecated, and probably you should use something else. Okay, we have 3 minutes left. I believe I have a couple of questions related to some, let's say, documentation stuff, like where share the feedback. Sandra already mentioned that we have Slack channel for the UCT where you can like share your feedback, ask your questions, and so on. So is there any other ways to communicate, or it's the main channel for UCT?
Yeah, that will be the main channel and the main way to communicate either with the team or with any other UCT users. And yeah, I added the links to the chat so everybody can get them directly from there, both the DevTalks page and the Slack channel, and also the one related with the PHP Storm plugin.
Okay, got it. Then, and the next one.
I think there was a hand raised.
Yeah, I guess there is a very important question in the chat. This from a very important person. Ihor?
Okay, Ihor, yeah. We can see your hand raised.
Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to remove my hand. I raised it the time when you guys ask like whether those who are excited about the feature need to raise the hand. So that I'm so excited that forgot to.
And you're still excited, yeah.
I'm still excited.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Igor.
Hi guys, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to check, like, is it possible to just check the UCT, like, upgrade compatibility without Magento installation? Like, just having the modules and check whether that will be compatible. What all the issues can be there for upgrading with this module?
Yes, you can specify paths to the module to check only the module.
Okay,
and
so
you can use PHP Storm also to check only the module without Magento installation. Can you, Bogdan, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
it's right.
that's
you can
nice.
use just PHP Storm if you want to check model without Composition or other Magento files. You don't need them with PHP Storm inspections.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, and we have one more question in the chat from Safal. So, for example, I work on a large model and I need to check to upgrade compatibility for some specific files only. So, can we do
that? I believe we can. I'm not sure. No, I think.
I believe you can specify only some specific folder, not files, right?
Yeah, the thing is that these upgrade compatibility checks are based on the. So we have the index for, technically speaking, right? We have the index for Magento modules built into the tool, so we are comparing this index to your customizations, but we need to create the index for your custom module. And the way we are doing it, we are working with Magento modules. So you should have a module to be analyzed for the upgrade compatibility tool as of now. So I guess you can run just the upgrade compatibility tool for large module. I don't know how large is it, but it's not taking ages to run it on the modules and then find the errors in your file. But yeah, that's also a good direction for us to make upgrade compatibility tool more flexible. I guess that's something that is possible to achieve. We'll see if we can just allow to analyze non-module folder or just one file. Is it compatible? Need to think about this.
Okay, and I believe we have one more question from Alexander.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a question about the PHP version. So please correct me if I'm wrong. As I understood, this compatibility tool uses the PHP version currently installed on the instance where you test this compatibility, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, got it. I asked this just because, for example, we can have situation when we have PHP 7 and PHP 8 compatibility, and in the future PHP 8, for example, .1 and PHP 9.0. And in this case, compatibility not only in just like Magenta compatibility, but also in the Magenta compatibility in the specific PHP version. So my question is it possible? I think, no, it's not possible. Yeah, I found an answer, thank you. I thought about testing compatibility for Magenta for different PHP versions because there can be some different ways.
Yeah, this question is actually very close to our plans, I think so. To our coming place, and as Sandra mentioned, we are so the goal of upgrade compatibility tool is simplify the upgrades, make the minimize the routine, try to identify all the common issues straight away without the need to go and look in each file. And for sure, we are going to handle. We are looking into handling the PHP upgrade issues as well, because that's one of the challenges that you are going to face with PHP 8, PHP 8.1.
Yeah, thank you so much, because it will be really, really cool to have report about all PHP versions supported in the Magenta instance you compared it. And also, if you will add, I think so, if you will add this tool as the command to the Adobe Commerce CLI tool, it will also help some, it also will make upgrade easier because this tool will be part of the cloud, and you can always have access to run this command just from your computer without any kind of installation to a project.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great idea as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting. All presentations today, they're just brilliant.
Noted. Thanks, Alex. Hope you guys liked it and hope you are inspired to go and try it out yourself. Go try it out, the UCT itself and PHP Storm plugin as well. And we are ready to hear all the challenges that you faced, issues, and also all your excitement. If that actually showed you some insights about your customizations and your extensions. Please don't forget to share all the feedback that you'll have in our Upgrade Compatibility Tools live channel. We are really curious about what you think about it.
Yeah, I see we're getting already new users, so thank you. And yeah, looking forward to hear from you and feedback about the tool.
Okay, thank you, Sergey. Thank you, Sandra, for great content, for great conversation. Thank you all for attending today. So, yep, see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.